Life is a series of unscripted experiences that forge us into unique individuals. These are the experiences and stories of those who possess the will, beliefs, and fortitude required to overcome obstacles, pursue their passions, and achieve success. Welcome to the HawkCast with your host, AJ Hawk.
Finally hit the record button for our featured guest tonight, just so his paranoia doesn't get the best of him. But I was promised everybody for episode 61 we were going to have a special guest, and we finally got him. We got the big Aaron Rodgers with us tonight, guys. So welcome, Aaron.
Thanks, AJ. Special about episode 61.
Yeah, 61's like that big number everyone always talks about. So yeah, we got you, man. 61. That's I always envisioned that. I have a big guest for 61.
Hey, thanks, man. Thanks so much.
No problem.
About time. You had 60 guests before me. Sitting next to each other for 9 years. Everybody finally put me on here.
It's hard to see. That's the thing with you. It's hard to nail you down. You're, you're kind of all over the place. You never know where you're going to be minute to minute. You never know if you're going to flake, if you're not going to text me back, call me back, whatever. So I appreciate that we went through the rigmarole of getting decent lighting for you.
That's not even a word. That's
and audio. Rigmarole? Yeah, it is, man. It's definitely a word. So for people that don't know you, which is nobody, quarterback at Green Bay, you've just finished your 11th season. Okay. So you're in Green Bay right now. What is, honestly, you're from Chico, California. How is it different than Chico?
How's Green Bay different?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, town size is pretty similar. You know, Chico's about 80,000. It's a big college town. Fun place to grow up. Lot to do in the summertime. It's nice and hot. Got that nice dry heat, not this muggy stuff that the Midwest and the South has, and the East Coast for that matter. Probably out there in Columbus with you as well. Grew up playing golf and swimming in the swimming holes and hanging out in Bidwell Park, one of the most famous public parks in the country. They filmed the 1950s Robin Hood there. A little trivia nugget for you. I'm very proud of that. Mm-hmm. Chico is well known for Chico State, #1 party school in 1987, and Bidwell Park, the #2, second biggest public park in the country after some park in New York, and Sierra Nevada alcohol as well. Very proud of our beer. Many people like the Pale Ale, but the Pale Ale, I'm a big fan of the Summerfest, actually.
What, like Leinenkugel?
Yeah, Summer Shandy.
Yes.
Got to be one of the worst beers of all time.
Sorry. Oh, come on, man. That's Wisconsin roots.
I know, but so is Miller.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hit Miller as well. Miller Chill is one of the worst ideas of all time as well.
I don't even know. What is Miller Chill?
It was an attempt at what's it called? Corona. It was an attempt at Corona. Bud Light did a Bud Light Lime, and Miller did a Miller Chill. Not great. I'm a Scotch drinker, though. You know that. I'm a Scotch drinker. But Green Bay, small town, good people. They love their football, love their sports, and nice place to live, man. Nice place to raise a family, as you know.
Yes, I was there 9 years, man. Had 2 kids there. Had my third kid back here in Ohio. So yeah,
there are a lot of people for you, I'm sure, to learn wisdom from on the team. Some older veteran guys who kind of taught you the ways.
Yeah, so that's the one thing I was worried about coming out here. We have 5,000 inside jokes that don't seem to correlate across other people. There's a few guys that'll get that could understand some of the.
That's the best part about whether it's this or whether it's a Twitter. You know, you can do a bunch of inside jokes and nobody ever gets them. I can post on my Twitter ridiculous heavyweight quotes and one of the greatest movies of all time, and nobody knows what I'm saying. I can quote Jack Handy, famous for his SNL riffs, and people think I'm smoking peyote or something, but actually I'm just stealing somebody else's work there.
Actually, you're just a weird dude that people, man, you just throw some good humor out there. Like the whole Twitter deal and everything. You recently are in the news, man. So you went back at some dude, I guess, who wrote a letter to the editor. First off, douchebag, the guy that did it. But when do you make the decision that you're actually going to react to something that someone says?
Most of the time I don't. I mean, I see so much ridiculous stuff on there. Twitter, unfortunately, has turned into a forum for a lot of hate, and people to it gives them their own platform to say whatever they want. This, that article I'd seen weeks ago. I mean, it wasn't something that happened, like yesterday, and then I commented on it. The only reason I commented is because a couple of publications picked it up and gave it some legs for some reason, which I think is a joke on their part. And it's some of those networks who don't have a lot of integrity, who think that it's a worthy story to put a guy in there who can't even spell my last name right, and talks about how me doing hard counts is ruining the game, or me catching guys on the field. I mean, again, just like with stealing Jack Handy quotes, the stuff that I'm doing is nothing that anybody before me hasn't done. I mean, Peyton Manning for years has tried to keep guys on the field and keep people from substituting and catching guys with 12 and 13 men on the field and getting free plays. The offside stuff that we've been doing for years, we just kind of took to another level with the ability to keep your guys on side, to use it as a free play, and to make something happen. So when there's something really stupid out there that somebody said, that's when I'll shut it down. But there's fuel every single day I could use. But it just sometimes when things get out there that are so ridiculous, it's a good time for some sarcasm. And thankfully there's a lot of gifts at your exposure now. Things you can expose or you can use, like I did with the hangover gift, which basically summed up my feelings, that you are literally too stupid to insult. And Alan has a great comeback in that movie. He says, thank you. He doesn't even understand that he's so ridiculous that insulting him with that comment just kind of still goes right over his head.
Yeah, I think that's one of your most recent one. Obviously, it's a slow news cycle as well at this time without the season going on. Being in the off season, you come back at a guy, and then it's like real publications pick it up. So it's funny, but it also, I think, probably can keep people on their toes maybe. But at the same time, it's got to be a weird feeling for you where if you do respond, it makes that dude's day, his life probably.
Yeah, maybe so. But, it's like that doucher who tried to take a shot at me after the Wisconsin basketball run last year, when I was, been close to the program for a number of years now, getting to know some of their coaches through charity events and being close with Andy North, and being a guest of his at the game. And at the same time, getting to be good friends with Sam Decker and Frank Kaminsky, and getting to know Josh Gasser and the Brust family and a lot of the players over the years, and being able to come down on the court after the game to say, my respects to Sam and Frank, and then get out of there. And this jackass, is talking about how I should have done an interview on the court. And my whole thing was, look, it's about the players. It's not about me going to the game. And then he's going to try and go on Twitter and rip me about being, entitled and all this stuff. And, there's some stuff like that it's better to, in my opinion, set the record straight at the time and let these people know just because they have a forum doesn't mean they can say ridiculous stuff to attack your character and get away with it.
So is it more stuff that the things you have responded to, the few things are when they attack your character, not someone that tries to clown you for throwing a pick or something?
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of those people. I mean, there are. I mean, I love, our country is really a football country, and anywhere you go, you hear the allegiances of people. I mean, you can be introduced to somebody, and they might be like, "Hey, just so you know, I'm a Lion fan, or I'm a Vikings fan." I love it. I'm like, that's not going to change the way I talk to you, look at you. I mean, I love the fact that you have your teams. Oh, you might even have me on your fantasy team. I mean, that's a lot of times. Oh, I'm a Bengal fan, but you're my fantasy quarterback. It's like, oh, okay, well, that doesn't change the way I interact with you at all. But no, I think it's when things get so idiotic that you can use some sarcasm to kind of make light of the situation. That's the situation I look for. But Twitter is it's so volatile. I mean, it's a little ridiculous at times, but you can throw some humor in there from time to time, and sometimes people get it.
That, like, on a serious note, something that you kind of stood up for was, I don't know what game it was this year, in your post-game press conference, there was a moment of silence at Lambeau, and someone yelled out something. A guy yelled something out, and then in your post after the game, you said something about you kind of took a stand for how you thought it was wrong to interrupt the moment of silence. What happened there?
Yeah, I mean, there's pregame. We always have the anthem, and we have flyover a lot of times. There've just been I think it was the Paris attacks. And we had a moment of silence, and you being obviously like myself, very patriotic and a big fan of our military and in this country. And somebody yelled out some very derogatory things about the Muslims. And, I firmly believe in the First Amendment and people's rights to freedom of speech. But what I said afterwards, and thankfully it was a moment of clarity for me, was that type of ideology, that hatred, without probably even understanding that religion at all, is what put us in this predicament that we are in now, where there's so much hatred between East and West, between Muslim and Christian nations. And I just don't think there's any place for that in society. And I don't think you should be able to use that freedom of speech to intentionally belittle or be derogatory with inflammatory statements like that about another religion that you probably don't know anything about. So if you look at the history of, those religions and the world, obviously there's been a lot of battles and wars fought over religion, but it's a lack of understanding in people and in religion, in really our own nation as a Christian nation, although many people don't identify as Christian, but and the Arab world identifying usually as a Muslim country. Not all Muslims belong to ISIS. Not all Muslims were part of Al Qaeda. So let's not group people together like that and have hatred for people that from different backgrounds that you really probably don't even understand.
Was that like a spur of the moment thing, or were you thinking about that once you heard the guy's comment during the moment of silence?
When I heard it, I was embarrassed. I really was. I was embarrassed for those people, and embarrassed to be at a group of 80,000 people where there'd be people who would have that type of hatred and prejudicial thoughts about another person who they don't understand, another culture. And I just don't, I wasn't going to say anything, obviously, if the question didn't come up, but it was one of the last questions of my press conference. And they said, hey, what do you think about the moment of silence today? And we'd lost the game, but I was very, very clear of thought at that point. I said, look, I'm embarrassed. I was shocked by the comments. I think as were a number of people, shocked by the comments and embarrassed that those are being thrown around Lambeau Field.
Yeah, I thought it was cool, man, because it's tough for a guy like in your shoes. Like you live on a different planet than the rest of the league. I mean, there's a few guys, maybe I don't know, like a Tom Brady might understand the pressure that you live under and the expectations, but how do you feel with that, like that responsibility you have being the face of the league, the face of the team, and this big time dude that things you say you could set off a riot depending on what you say. Do you feel that pressure?
Without a doubt. I mean, I think it's different. It's a different thing for sure because, when I was doing my radio show, it seemed like every single week I would try not to say anything and one or two headlines would come out about something that I said every Tuesday. And at times it gets a little ridiculous, but I think you realize, I do have a different platform than other people and people care about what I say. It's, recently I went to Randall Cobb's graduation. You were down there for the Derby. I went to Randall's graduation on Sunday morning, and I was disappointed that in a desire to get clicks, obviously mouse clicks, that these big online sites will put, in my opinion, ridiculous headlines. The headline should have been Randall Cobb, after 5 years, finishes his degree, first in his family to graduate college. But instead, the headline is Aaron Rodgers attends Randall Cobb's graduation. It's the same type of deal in a different way. Anytime you say something, you just realize the platform that you have now. Now, with that, I don't like being vocal about politics. I'm paid to play sports. I understand that. I have no problem talking sports. Every now and then, when there's a crossover societal issue that I have a chance to speak on, i.e., the Muslim comments, I'll sometimes take that opportunity. But I know my role and I know how far my voice carries as well.
That's something that I think like leadership wise that I always thought about, or I thought about, I guess, as I got older, like the leadership thing going with you and how you run the team and how you kind of carry yourself. Do you like, what would be an example of a leader, a guy that you looked up to as a leader? And also, like, what do you think a leader looks like? Like, what does leadership even mean?
I mean, it's an interesting question. I think it takes different forms. I always felt like you were a great leader on our team. You weren't a vocal guy ever, but you were a guy who played through a lot of pain. You dealt with injuries really well. You kept your mouth shut. You spoke, when you felt like it was right. And every time you did, it was powerful. Guys looked up to you by the way you played on the field, the way you carried yourself in the locker room, the kind of teammate that you were. And, it can take on different forms. Julius Peppers, I would say, is one of our leaders. Julius is a very quiet guy. You were around him for a couple of years. He's a quiet guy, but he has that charisma about him. He has the experience, which gives him kind of the opportunity to speak when he has those chances. And, it can take on a lot of different forms. For me, it's about finding those spots. I'm not a big rah-rah in front of the team speech guy. I have my opportunity Saturday morning to talk to the offense. I talk to the guys, before our 7-on-7 drill in pregame warmups. But I like to lead by example on the field. The guys know I'm going to bring in at practice every single day. They know I'm going to bring energy. I'm going to bring enthusiasm. I'm going to play my butt off when I get out there. I'm going to play through injuries, and I'm going to represent the team well. And I think the organization rewards guys who do it the right way, the Packer way, and represent the team well, and obviously play well also.
How do you see? It's weird. It's annoying to me when I see how some things get picked up. How people think, I guess, on the outside or media people. You're not a guy that sits there and posts on your social media about how you're having, I don't know, you're throwing routes to your receivers in February. You brought them all out, or you hashtag grinding every morning. You're not doing that kind of stuff. Do you ever feel like pressured to do that? And how do you feel like? Or is that something you never even thought of doing? You just stay quiet and go about your way?
Well, that goes back to leadership. I think it has to be natural, it has to be authentic if you want guys to respond to it. So, my first year starting, had guys over to the house on Wednesdays during the week, and we had food and hung out and got to know each other. We do Thursday O-line dinner I go to every week, which is fun. We went, I just took a bunch of the line down to the Derby to mix with our regular group of you and me and Cobb and some other guys. And, guys have done that, West Coast getting together for throwing and stuff for years. Have they ever won championships? Anybody that's done that? I mean, I know that's not those times don't win championships. What wins championships is the chemistry. And I think you can get chemistry without, getting together for 3 days in the off season and making a big to-do about it. I've thrown with receivers over the years in more of a one-on-one or a couple guys. They know where I work out in the off season if they want to come down for some work. But we spend so much time together during the year. I mean, in the off season program, we're here for 9 weeks and 6+ months of the season. You got plenty of time to work on your chemistry and the off the field stuff that we do. A lot of the hangouts and the trips also builds chemistry. So I've never felt any pressure to do any of that stuff. It's got to come natural and I could put together a group of 15 or 20 to come out and do that for a couple of days, but I think, and the guys would probably agree, putting a trip together to go to the Derby or taking the guys down to Whistling Straits for a day of golf is a little more exciting and builds the same type of chemistry, I think.
I think it builds better chemistry because you see guys outside their element or outside the normal element. And that was one of the things that I remember from after our Super Bowl year, we had the lockout. So the owners locked us out. We didn't have an off season. And there was all this talk going on about teams that were like getting together and they were running off-season workouts with their guys. And they would show clips and team guys would be like on high school fields running through bags and doing like dumb drills just to do it. And the media would make a big deal about it. And I thought it was cool. I don't think you ever felt pressured to like put one of these together and you'd run into like random people. I'm sure you did even while you're out in California during the lockout where they would think, oh, you're bringing a bunch of guys up to work out, and in reality, I don't know, man. It was so weird. And then you said something after our first game. We went out and you guys put up a ton of points. I think you said something about like, man, imagine how many points we would have scored if we'd have had some off-season workouts together.
Well, because they ripped us about it. They ripped us about not getting together. I mean, first of all, that was the best off-season ever. I mean, I think
yes.
The way my body felt coming into that season was unbelievable. I mean, I'm thinking, man, if we could do this every single year. They were talking, league-wide about there's going to be a downturn in production and, the quality of play is not going to be there. We go out and I threw 3 touchdowns in the first quarter against the Saints, who were a good team, who had won the Super Bowl the previous year before us. So it's like, I mean, come on, how ridiculous is that? So anytime, there's just absolute stupidity being spun out there in the media, and then you get a chance to squash it a little bit is always a point of enjoyment.
It has to be. And I like you said, I was a couple lockers down from you for 9 years. So I've seen it firsthand how you interact with guys on a daily basis. And it is a weird thing. The more I think about it, it's tough because I've been so close with you for a while, but you think about, for the sake of a young kid coming in now, you're just got done with your 11th season and starting quarterback's coming up to talk to me, and I'm a practice squad guy that you could be gone in 3 days, but you're going to greet him and mess with them and joke with them, and you're going to have a good relationship with them. And I've seen you do that with a million different guys. Like that's leadership, man. And obviously what you do on the field is beyond anything. So I don't know if you ever hear anybody talk about that. I don't pay attention if they do knock you for whatever those stupid workouts are, everything. But I've seen it firsthand, like a testament of what you've done as a leader. So, I mean, you're the definition of how that goes without sitting here and blowing smoke up your ass too much. So I just wanted to let you know that in case you were worried. I'm sure you were pretty insecure about that.
No, I appreciate that. But again, that goes to, opinions don't really matter. And you learn over the years, there's so many outside opinions that have absolutely no bearing on my life, my career. And you have to find a way to block those out. When they get too ridiculous, occasionally you shut it down. But there's so many opinions that don't matter, or people trying so hard to be relevant off your name to even give them even more, more of a platform would be an injustice to yourself, because most of the time they're just trying to use your name to gain notoriety, and I don't need that. All I need is yourself or Charles Woodson or Pep or Clay or somebody who's played with me for a while they can do the talking for me. Other than that, the guys that matter know the type of leader I am, and the guys that don't, their opinions don't matter, obviously.
Going off that, how do you, like, with where you are now in your life and the status you have, like, how do you trust anybody that's new that comes into your life?
Make them sign NDAs.
Do you really? You got Derek Jeter over here putting cell phones in the bucket and signing NDAs?
Yeah. No. It doesn't matter if you're a first year or a 12th year. You have to really know your associations, and they say a lot about who you are. And we've all made some mistakes over the years about aligning yourself with the wrong person who by association doesn't make you look as good, and you learn from those situations and you move forward. But it's about trying to find those people who really influence your life in a positive way and are good support for you, bring great energy to your life, and are encouraging you. You have to find people who will be not yes people all the time. There's so many yes people in our lives who just want to tell you what you want to hear, and you gotta weed through some of the bullshit and find the people who really care about you and stick with those people.
It's got to be a different feeling for you. I think I don't know if you've always been like, would you call yourself, you think you're guarded?
Yeah, I think you have to be.
Have you always been that way?
I think I can come off that way, being definitely on the quiet side. I'm more of a listener than a talker, I'd say, in general. That can make you seem guarded, but it's, I think you can learn more by listening than talking most of the time. So I'm always studying things, studying people, and when you get older and have some status, you really have to be smart about your associations, and you have to question things, and trust is not a given; it's earned. As is a prominent place in your life. Just because you have a certain status, family, longtime friend, teammate doesn't mean you initially get the key to my life and everything that's going on with it. It takes being able to trust somebody and seeing how they react to you in situations, and seeing when you're going through adversity, how do they respond to you? When they have issues, how do they treat you? And when your life is changing, how do they treat you as well? And the ones that can stick with you and be supportive through the ups and the downs, and be encouraging people throughout your career and on and off the field, those are the people that stick around in your life.
Has that circle grown or shrunk as you've gone through the NFL?
I think you know the answer to that. It shrinks for sure. It shrinks. Maybe if you're talking about let me rephrase it. It shrinks with the original folks, because as your life changes and becomes bigger in some areas and smaller in other areas, it's hard for some people to find that spot where they fit in your life, or they don't want that spot in your life for whatever reason. And you have to, people change over the years as well, and they have a lot of opportunities to reveal themselves to you. And it's about finding those people again who continue to encourage you and make your life better and more positive, and to continue to bring a positive energy to your life. And so it shrinks in some areas, but then you have being in my position, your circle of influence brings different people from other areas, walks of life, who have often large spheres of influence as well, and those are the people sometimes that you find you can be quicker friends with, because they understand some of the same restraints and issues that you deal with on a day-to-day basis.
And it gets no higher than the old president, Barack Obama, man. Tell us about your golf outing you had with him recently.
It was my best round of the year. Thankfully, I played really well, and he's a good player.
What'd you shoot?
I shot 75.
Okay. Did you give him putts, like gimmies?
Of course.
You told him to pick it up?
As many as I possibly could. That's good, Mr. President.
Did he tell you to pick it up?
He's very generous on the golf course, yes. No, but no, he's competitive. It was a lot of fun. It came together through Mark Kelly, who's become a friend of mine. He's a very famous astronaut, flew the space shuttle a bunch of times. His brother just got back from a year in space, his twin brother. And we became friends through Olivia on the newsroom. They did a show about his wife, Gabby Giffords, who was the senator in Arizona, got shot. And they became friends. I got to meet both of them at a dinner. And then Mark and I did Celebrity Jeopardy together. And then for starting last fall, he was talking about setting up golf for the president. And I said, I'm all in, for sure. Let me know. And then in the spring, in like February, they sent like 5 or 6 dates. And it was like, can you make any of these dates work? And I said, yeah, any of them. Just pick one. I'll be there. And so the three of us and Tony Kornheiser from PTI went out and played and had a good time.
Now, I don't know if it's a national security matter. Can you talk about after the round, how you got home?
I can't. It's national security.
Oh, man. It's a shame. That's good.
I can tell you, though, that, I'm in my office right now. And one thing that, I got a lot of cool memorabilia in here over the years. But one thing that stands on my mantle over there is a letter that he sent me after my comments that we talked about earlier during the moment of silence. And he sent me a nice handwritten note about that, and that's something that I'll keep with me as long as I have this office. So it's pretty cool when you get a letter from the sitting president, and then obviously to play with the sitting president as well is pretty amazing. So I'll definitely cherish those memories and the ride back.
Were you
White House?
How'd you feel going into that? Like your first tee shot, how'd you feel walking up to the tee?
I was so nervous, super nervous. I mean, you play in Tahoe in the American Century Championship, that gets me 10 times more nervous than the first snap of a game or a snap in the fourth quarter when you gotta make a play. I'm worried about hitting people. I'm worried about whiffing. I'm worried about looking terrible out there. I want to play good out there, and obviously, you walk on the first tee with the leader of the free world. who's competitive. I mean, I know he played with like Steph Curry. They talked about, and I know that a friend of mine, Ray Allen, I think has played with him a few times, and I know there were stories about him playing basketball with like LeBron and stuff. So I know he's an athlete. I mean, he's competitive. So I don't want to go out there and embarrass myself. So luckily, I put together a decent round, made some putts, but I was very nervous in the first tee.
I can imagine, man. That's it has to be. That's something at Tahoe that people don't understand how nervous you are, like standing up there, especially for the first tee when they announce your name. It's just being it's like a different platform.
Yeah. I mean, how about 18? You got people all up down the right side of the fairway. I'm like, and Larry the Cable Guy hit somebody a couple years ago. I'm like, dude, I mean, please, just anywhere on the club face, just anywhere up in the air so I don't hit somebody. Luckily, over the years, I think I hit somebody at Pebble Beach when I played in the Pro-Am a couple of years ago. But I've been pretty lucky so far not to hit anybody.
Yeah, you better up that umbrella policy, man. I'm sure people are on it.
They are.
Why'd you switch to Adidas after like 10 years in Nike, man?
Well, Mark King, who's the CEO of Adidas North America, has been a friend for years. He lives in down in San Diego County, and I've had a house there for a number of years now, and I've gotten to know him when he was with TaylorMade over the years. I have a good friend who's the engineer over there, and he's a Wisconsin guy too. He was actually in the running to be the president, I believe, when Mark Murphy got the job. I think he was one of the final three. And when my deal was up at Nike, just looked at some other opportunities, and the opportunity with Adidas to really form not only a endorsement relationship, but kind of a brand advocate relationship with a lot more creative input for me was an opportunity that I jumped at. I think it's a brand that's obviously improving and jumping back into football in a big way and signing a lot of guys. And I want to be one of those guys as they take their brand to the next level. You've seen the stuff they do on the lifestyle side. I mean, obviously the Yeezys are one of the hottest shoe out there. The classics are a very, very hot seller. And I think there was an opportunity to make a splash on the football side and to raise the awareness of their brand. They've done some great things with me and shoes. And I think there's going to be some even better stuff coming this fall. Check it out.
Yeah. Good cliffhanger. Leaving us, putting that out there for everybody.
So, did you see my shoes last year? I was wearing my Johnny Unitas throwbacks.
They're like all black, like high top looking.
Yeah. Well, they helped me throw my Hail Mary.
Good for you. You had a couple Hail Marys, man. Oh, one of your things, man, one of your videos. So my brother Ryan, who has his own podcast as well, he sent me a video. He sends a clip. He actually tells me he sends it to people all over because he loves it. He played quarterback in college. And it's of you sitting in the stands at Lambeau. I would think you'd remember this. And it's like a minute and a half, and you're going through what goes through your head between plays.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Uh-huh.
And I think my brother was telling me how he sends it to people because it's just amazing, like, description of what the 5 billion things going on, and none of it has to do with the physicality of throwing a football, running, doing anything. It's just all mental. And when you were describing that deal, was that like an off the cuff thing where they just ask you a question, like what's going through your head?
I'd actually done that one other time. I did that at a Q&A deal. I think it was down at the Bowl actually in Sheboygan. I was doing a Q&A down there when I was with ESPN Milwaukee, and yeah, it's different every single time you say it, but that's what really goes through your mind. There's a million things from the minute the second the play ends, and Mike's on my headset telling me the play to when the next ball gets snapped. 30 seconds after that. There's just a lot that goes through your mind, from getting guys lined up to making sure that everybody's on the same page, what the checks are, what defense, what they're in. Obviously, finding the play clock, getting your reads on the corners and the safeties, the defensive line, the linebackers. Being good with your eye control during that time, making sure everybody's lined up in the right spot. You got a motion, you got a shift. You got the cadence. You got to remember what that's on. I've actually false started before, and played a couple off at times when I forgot what the snap count was. Hasn't happened the last couple of years, but and when I'm stutter counting, you got to make sure you know you know what the count is on. But there's a lot that goes through your mind. But I couldn't do it justice. You probably have to look up that clip.
Yeah, we'll put a Todd will put a link up.
You can put it kind of up here, and maybe over here.
You see that, Todd? Put those hands down, buddy. No, I'm not even gonna get into that one. It doesn't. Whatever, bro.
Don't start with that. Yeah,
I'm not. Doesn't matter. So you referenced Big Mike McCarthy being in your ear and the speaker. So how was your relationship with him changed from day one to 11 years in?
Well, it might have not been day one, but day 2 or 3 when he got to Green Bay, he made a point of squashing anything that had happened in 2005. He was the offensive coordinator with the San Francisco 49ers when they drafted Alex Smith, and I actually met with him before the draft. He had me up on the board, diagrammed some plays that we had. I probably diagrammed 285 hash and 280 choice on the board, and talked him through a couple reads we had at Cal and what was going through my mind, and maybe a run pass check or a run check, and he had actually he forgets this story, but I'd asked him straight up. I said, you guys going to pick me or Alex? And he said, I think we're picking you. Now, again, I'm sure that's what you need to say to a young guy coming in for a visit there, but I was staying with Alex and Mike got hired. And so, like the second or third day, say, hey, look, just, we drafted Alex. They drafted you here. Now I'm here. Let's move on. And I didn't even say anything. I'm like, yeah, cool, Mike. I'm happy you're here, man. It's gonna be fun. But the relationship grew from there. I was a backup of the first 2 years with him, and then took over in 2008, and had a lot of great times together over the years. A lot of big wins. A lot of wisdom he's passed on to us over the years, and it's been a fun relationship. To see us get older in the league together, me in my 12th year, he in his 11th year as the head coach. I mean, that's impressive. This will be my 9th year starting, which is a lot for a starting quarterback. Now, I think when you get into 10, 15 years, you're really talking about some longevity. But for a head coach to spend 11 years in the same place, and you were just in Cincy with Marvin, Belichick, there's very few guys who are able to hang on at their teams for a long time. Mike Tomlin's done it for a number of years now in Pittsburgh, but it's a testament to those coaches that can get the most out of their players every year and be competitive and win. And Mike is a guy who cares about his team a lot and puts forward the vision every year for us to be successful, and it's obviously worked.
Now he's the one calling the plays into you. Like how? So I mean, I'm sure he would admit it. He's an emotional guy, and he can. It gets in many different ways, and it's fun. It's fun to be around him. It's fun to watch. He loves football, that's for sure. Yes, how is that throughout the course of a game? How does this emotion come through your speaker into the headset? Can you ever feel if he's super excited, if he really wants this play to work? Like, how does that work?
Oh, for sure. I mean, and I know during the week a lot of times what plays to anticipate in the course of a game, and first, second, third, fourth quarter, first, second, third down, red zone plays. I'll have in my mind the ones that I know he likes. He does a great job of asking me during the week which plays that I really like, and giving me those plays, especially early, to get into a rhythm. But yeah, I mean, there's been some funny moments over the years. I remember in 2007 we're playing the Eagles on Monday night. Getting our 6 or 7, getting our ass whooped, and I threw a ball to Greg Jennings, then kind of left center of the field. We were about the 30. Would have been a touchdown, would have been my first touchdown ever, and he got pass interfered with, and we got the ball on the 1 yard line. Now, mind you, I think we're down like 30-9 at this point, and we run 4 straight plays of 99 strike, which is an outside zone run play out of our big personnel. And he got more angry as the downs went on. First down was I got 99 strike. Second down, there's some choice words, and then 99 strike, and then you can imagine from there as we called it 4 straight plays and got stuffed 4 straight plays. But he'll also get really excited when he has a good feeling it's a touchdown play. He gets a little giddy in the headset, and I think he has to catch himself sometimes too. He's told me just not to try and predetermine where I go with the football, but he gets so excited sometimes. I saw a mic'd up. We were playing Denver. I think it was in 11. He called the play in. He knew it was going to be a touchdown to Jordy, and he's over there as I'm rolling out, going, "He's open! He's open! He's open! He's open! He's open!" I'm just, it's nice. People ask me all the time, like, how much do you hear? And I said, well, it's nice because it cuts off after 15, because after 15 seconds on the play clock, I don't have to hear anything else. But I like to say, as you're fluent as well, but when you're around Mike for so long, you learn to speak Pittsburgh really well.
A very proud guy from Pittsburgh, that's for sure. And as I think all Pittsburgh people are. I don't know if I've met one that doesn't talk about it a lot.
Same with Columbus, man. Everything Columbus is always talking about how tough they are, how much grit they have.
That's right. Shut up. You've been here, man.
You don't have a boxer you can really hang your hat on, though, do you? Who's the biggest boxer from Columbus?
Buster Douglas. Come on now.
Oh, really? Oh, I haven't heard you rep him a whole lot. I mean, he had one big win against Tyson, but
I'm not a big boxing.
He's nothing like the Pittsburgh Kid, though.
Billy Conn. Still watch clips of him every day. I show my kids.
Is that what you guys are watching in the morning now? Because when I was out there a couple years ago, it was all old WWF highlights. Hogan, Macho Man, Ultimate Warrior. I mean, you're really teaching the right way. Ric Flair.
Well, you're boys with Ric Flair, aren't you?
I've met him. I met Ric Flair one time, which is a great story too. We were in Carolina. This was 11 as well, at dinner, and I was at dinner with Graham Harrell, and Graham is a humongous wrestling fan. And in this steakhouse, we look over and there's KG, Kevin Green, Hall of Famer, by the way. Congrats, KG. And he's eating with Ric Flair. And you know what? I wasn't actually – sorry, let me rephrase the story. I was at dinner with a friend of mine from he's a Coast Guard guy. And Graham was eating with Flynn at the other table. And Graham starts texting me going, Ric Flair's over there. Ric Flair. I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, I see him. He's like, I want to meet him. And I'm like, well, go talk to him. He's like, no. Take me over there. Will you take me over there? And I'm like, just go talk to him. And so KG, I text KG like, hey, Graham wants to meet Rick. And he said, yeah, bring him over. But Graham's like, I'm not going over there without you. So we go over there. This dude's the biggest WRF fan of all time. We walk over there, meet him, and Graham cannot get a word out. He's so nervous and starstruck. He cannot say a word. I mean, you get him in the locker room, he's talking about every match he's ever done and, every factoid you could imagine about Rick. But you get him in front of him, and he just clams up. Carolina, though, did a disservice, though. We played it this year. They used to have Rick and his woo was one of their things. They don't have it on the Jumbotron anymore.
I wonder if Rick was trying to get some cash from it.
There's a falling out between Flair and the Panther. We'll take Nature Boy if he's looking for a team to get behind. We'd love that.
Probably go to the highest bidder, I'm guessing. No, I love Ric Flair. All due respect to him. RESPEK, like my guy at the radio show. Babyface, was that it? Was that the guy?
I think it was Ali, wasn't it?
Shut up. No. What do you remember? What's Ric Flair? What's his little walk called? Is he even named that?
No, but I still do. I get Andy Gruber to do it in the locker room. You know Andy.
Well, I don't know if you remember when we played Carolina the next day. Nature Boy was on the sidelines during warm-ups, and you walked by and you did his little deal. You did the walk, and he was so jacked.
Actually, I wish there was a camera on me. But late in that game, it was a good game. Cam had a big day. He threw for like 4-something, and it was tight late. And I hit Jordy on a slice on the backside, and Greg Jennings had a great block for him, and he went like 80 for a touchdown. And I sprinted down behind him, and I did the walk in the end zone as Jordy was celebrating with his teammates.
And no one has that on film?
I hope it's somewhere. Maybe need to bring that up. But I looked around for Rick. He wasn't on the sidelines. He should have come over to our sideline after that. Him and KG. Yeah.
Yes, Kevin Green, Hall of Fame. Congrats, KG, if you ever see this,
Yeah.
which he probably will.
16 move.
Yes. Wow, you have a crazy memory, man. Like remembering specific plays. Do you remember all like specific plays from every game?
No, I'm not every play, but a lot of plays. Yeah, I think you need to. The ability to recall things quickly is an important quarterback trait. Because when you break the huddle, for me, I like to have a picture in my mind. It hit me right away, and it could be, a play from my film study that week that I'd seen. Or it could be the play that's called in my headset, that we'd ran in practice that week and the result that I wanted or where I wanted to throw the football. Or it could be a completely separate play that happened 5 years ago in a game where, we had maybe a similar situation or similar defense or the same D coordinator, and there was a similar play called, and you want to be able to have those positive pictures hit your brain right away.
How many times do you change the play at the line?
Depends on the play, and it depends on kind of the week and the opponent. We'll go into some weeks where we'll have, maybe 50%, run pass options. When you do that, you have to have a lot of dummy phrases, dummy words, dummy signals. So, some games you go in and you have a lot of run it plays, but there's not a check option. So it's basically we're going to run this against any defense, or we're going to throw this play against any defense, and that gives you less thinking. But also, you have to trust that you're going to dial up the proper defense you want, which is always a guessing game.
What about in the 2-minute drill? Do you strictly call the plays yourself?
Yeah, I like to get a kind of a reference call sometimes after an incompletion or a stop in the clock. But if we're on the ball, I usually call everything, and that goes back to the training that we've done since I was a young starter, where we'd work on the 2-minute drill before training camp for years, and obviously during the weeks we always do a 2-minute drill. We talk about the coverages every single week, what we're expecting to face, what plays we like at the top of our list, and Mike always has that list in front of him, so he can feed me stuff that we talked about during the week that we liked in those situations. But yeah, a lot of it's predicated on matchup as well. And when you get into a game, a defense is going to play a certain amount of defenses, and so you get a feel for kind of who's hot that game, who's covering well, who you want to stay away from, who you want to attack, what matchups you like the best. And then when you get in those situations where it's crunch time, you got to make sure you're finding those matchups. So the plays might adjust slightly based on the way guys are playing. There's injuries throughout the game, so you might have a certain guy covering a guy starting the game, but he gets hurt, and they got to shuffle the defense around, and you might have a favorable matchup outside, and lean towards that when you need a big time play.
I've heard you reference it publicly that you think there's too many mics out there on the field. Is that something you still feel that way?
No, yeah, way too many mics.
Because if you watch a TV copy of a game, we can hear your whole cadence.
Yeah. So
are you upset because you can hear your checks?
Yeah, I think I think it's too much information. I mean, when they in 2008, there used to be no headset on defense, right? So the defense had to signal on every plays, and that was part of the whole Spygate issue, filming signals and whatnot. But now you have mics, on both guards most of the time, and you pick up everything that the quarterback says when we're at home, and sometimes on the road as well. And I think that's a competitive advantage for the defense, and it makes you, it makes you have to work that much harder with your dummy words and your live and your dead words. And I mean, that's part of the game there. But I think that the access is a little bit much. I mean, there's cameras in the locker room. I don't know if, like pregame, guys changing, get naked in there. I don't know if that's a fan experience that we need to encourage there. I mean, where else do you go now with all the access that you have? One thing that bothered me when we won the Super Bowl, and I think it's gotten worse every single year, is, you win the Super Bowl, let the guys celebrate with the guys. I remember, I don't even know if I saw you after the Super Bowl. Definitely not right away. I mean, I got grabbed by Kuhn and I think B-Jack, and then I saw Clay, and then I was surrounded by, 50 people who I didn't want to be surrounded by. I mean, you want to be celebrating with your teammates and your coaches, and I didn't get to see most of you guys until I got back on the bus. And with the amazing technology of these cameras, don't we have the ability to zoom in from 50 feet or 100 feet and still have the same type of images? There's just a lot of access right now, and I mean that's the NFL's profiting. Other sports are doing the same thing. You're seeing it in basketball. They're getting inside the huddles. Coaches are mic'd up all the time. I think when I'm mic'd up, it definitely takes away the authenticity of the game. For me, I don't feel comfortable mic'd up. And I will say this, Randall Cobb had a serious injury last year in the playoff game, and I believe, as I think he would as well, and the team, that was caused by him being mic'd up because he fell on his mic pack, and he had an injury to his insides that kept him out of the game. Probably would have kept him out of the rest of the playoffs. And the puncture spot or the injury spot was directly adjacent to his mic pack. So
you're saying the mic pack that like NFL Films put on into his shoulder pads?
Yep.
Wow. I wonder, man, like the camera thing is something that is funny to me. I don't know if you saw the clip from this past year in Cincinnati. We played an away game at Buffalo, and they ran with a live interview with Pac-Man Jones right in the locker room, and it was straight looking down. The camera was pointed directly towards where we were going into the shower. I don't know if you ever saw the clip. It went everywhere. Like a 3.5 minute video, 3.5 minute interview with Pac-Man. And everyone's walking through with towels on. There's bare asses in the background, and it was a live shot. So I remember thinking, I mean, we all thought it was hilarious, but some guys got upset, and I was thinking that before I started talking to you. It just hit me there when you said that. I was like, what if that was like? It's one thing if people don't really recognize some of the guys maybe in the background. I was like, what if Aaron's walking into the shower with, as you always do, towel up top, towel on the shoulder. And what if you're walking to the locker room there? It's a live shot that once it gets out there, it's screenshotted. It's there forever.
Forever. I don't think they care, to be honest with you. I really don't.
Who's they?
They're controlling the people that are controlling that content.
The man. Is that who you're speaking of?
It's a network. It's my problem with it's that right after a game. It's a race to see who's first. It's like, who can report first on this? Who can get this interview first? Who can put this up first on, on Twitter? It's that's a whole nother issue about, whether you're accurate or whether you're just trying to get clicks and get to, get people to look what just happened with the whole Deflategate stuff where they, right away come out and say 11 of the 12 footballs are deflated to like 10 pounds. And, the guy that put that out there has to give like a page 22 apology, but the people it's about, are the mainstream is affected by the stuff that's out there, especially if it's somebody in a position of influence where they have a lot of followers and people listen to what they're saying.
Well, there's no real downfall to it. Like you said, they have to give a page 22.
There's no accountability.
No one sees that. No one's going to see the apology. I mean, no. So it's a weird though, because it's not getting any better. It's only going to go the other way because there's more and more access.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty soon we're going to be able to watch the game on TV from the perspective from like a POV helmet cam that's embedded in your helmet.
Won't be my helmet, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, right. How you gonna stop them?
I don't get mic'd up. I'm not gonna wear that.
What if they put them on every guy?
Might have to call it a career.
Shut up. How long are you gonna play, man? What's your plan? Like, do you have a plan on how long you think you want to play?
Well, I just got knee surgery 2 days after the year to clean up an old injury and hopefully give me another 6 or 7 to play. For quarterbacks, we're right in our prime right now. I'm 32 years old. I'm turning 33 in December, and I feel like I'm playing my best football and have been for a number of years now, and feel like I don't think there's an end in the near future to me playing at a really high level. Obviously, you don't want to go out on your own terms. You'd like to go out on top as a champion, but that only happens for a select few. The last thing you want to do is go out and not be able to play worth a damn. So, it's finding that sweet spot where you still play at a high level and maybe you can go out as a champion.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I mean, yeah, it's something you don't have to worry about.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough league. You can rarely go out on your own terms. That's the biggest thing. At some point, they're gonna kick you to the curb, and I think you have to be ready for what's next, and also be realistic about your abilities. And I hope both those things are in line when my time comes, and hopefully it's not for another 6, 7, 8 years.
I think you're good. I think you got some time. What? No. Speaking of that, I lived through the whole Brett Favre saga with you, and my question, like, obviously you handled it beautifully. I'm sure you have all kind of thoughts on that. But when did you know? Like, when were you aware that this was your team, that you were going to be the starting quarterback?
Well, I knew when I was drafted at some point that I'd get a chance. Well, I mean, I thought when I was drafted at some point I'd get a chance. I mean, it's a business. You're a first-round pick. They're not going to let you sit on the bench for 5 or 6 years. I mean, maybe in 1950s they would have, but today's day and age is even tougher. They throw guys in right away. But I also know I was playing behind a first-ballot Hall of Famer. And when his time was done, that I'd get a chance, and hopefully that was within the length of my contract. I remember it was a day in March when I was living in Pacific Beach, and I woke up and I had like 100 text messages on my phone, and I heard he'd retired. He was going to have a news conference, and at that point forward, I assumed it was my team. Now, a lot happened from that point to starting my first preseason game against Cincinnati that year. But, it was I felt like the entire time I was going to get the opportunity. But in that situation, a lot of stuff's out of your hands. So you just got to trust that what's supposed to happen. And
does anyone talk to you, like, when that retirement happened? Because it was a crazy back and forth. Is Brett going to stay? And then all of a sudden he wanted to come back, and then bam, was traded.
Well, basically what happened was he retired in March, and then I came back. At that time, we were going back really early, so it was like 2 weeks I was back into town. And as I usually did, because, Brett came to OTAs and minicamp, but he wasn't there for the off-season program back then when we started way back in March. So I ran with the first team, in 2006 and 7, until he came back for OTAs in late May, early June. And so it was nothing really different from an off-season standpoint. It was just that, it was me, and then we picked up Dalton Bell and Jerry Babb, and it was the three of us doing off-season workouts with Tom Clements and the quarterback school. And then we went through the whole OTAs and minicamp, and then there was some rumblings in the summer. I remember there were rumblings when I was at Tahoe that, he was thinking about making a comeback, and obviously training camp hit, and it was a little bit crazy, but yeah, I mean, the Packers, to their credit, told me the same thing the entire time, that I was going to be the guy, and that wasn't changing. But it's a business, so you listen to it, but it's a business, and you just you gives a waiting game for me as well.
Where are you at with Brett now? It seems like you guys have made up, and you guys are presenting awards together, and you're buddies.
Yeah, we are. We had a good time playing together. We played together for 3 years. And had a lot of fun. We won a lot of games, had some good laughs. I mean, he's a very, he's a very fun teammate to be around. He's always cracking jokes and pulling pranks on everybody, myself, probably more times than anybody over those 3 years. But no, it's good to see him. One thing that really helped, I think, everybody, it was a win-win for everybody, was when we presented the NFL honors together. And, we actually got to hang out a few hours before the show, before we went on, and talk and catch up, and it was great. It was just like when we left in the end of the 2007 season, where we were good friends and had a good time and had a bunch of inside jokes, and just kind of picked right up where we left off, and we went out and did the bit. We had a good time with it. He was, we kind of ad-libbed a little bit there, but I think it was the beginning of the healing process, and then it was great being able to bring him back last year. It was fun. We did before that Bears game when he came back, we got to do a fun picture. Bart Starr was there, myself, and Brett. The three of us doing a pretty awesome picture. I'm not sure where that's at yet, but I'm sure that'll be out at some point. And it's good to have all three of us together and kind of the three generations of quarterbacks there. And it'll be fun to see him in Canton this year as we're playing in the Hall of Fame game, preseason game, which I think follows. The inductions.
Yeah, I think the inductions are the night before. And so now, how do you feel about that? That seems amazing. That's awesome. You get to play 5 preseason games now.
Yeah, really excited.
It's another chance to get better.
Yeah, you know what? I think at some point they'll make some changes. But, when you can charge full price for a preseason game, I don't think anybody's in a hurry to get rid of them. Anybody with those decision powers.
Yeah, you can't, man. It's that whole game is a weird deal. I grew up in Ohio, so I never went to the game, but I remember it happening. It's a big deal for everybody up there. I understand it, but they don't need the game to induct the guys in the Hall of Fame.
It's the first thing I've agreed with you on this entire interview.
First thing, good. First thing in 10 years, maybe. On a side note, have you Sorry, you don't even know. You don't know where I'm going. Have you?
I don't know where you're going.
True or false? Have you ever closed down a wedding reception doing a duet with another athlete? Singing a duet.
True. Yeah.
Okay. What song was that? You think?
It was either Lady. Was it Lady in Red or was it Red Red Wine?
Lady in Red.
Lady in Red. Yeah.
Yeah, my wedding reception almost 10 years ago now. You came in with Nate, Big Nate Weir, the ultimate trainer, and Nate's the man. And, yeah, it was a fun reception, man. It was a different I think, yeah, Brett was still in Green Bay. It was after your second season, I guess, there. My first.
March of 7.
Yeah,
right?
So you came back to Columbus, the great city of Columbus, and – had a good time, and it was you and our guy Bobby Carpenter closed down the reception, man. It was a great encore.
After we got on the mic, I don't think there's anybody who wanted to step up because it was so good.
Nah, they were scared, man. It's like trying to follow Eddie Murphy in a stand-up.
You're not going to do it.
Not going to do it. No one's doing it.
I feel like, you might think differently, but I felt like Bobby brought me down a little bit.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
A little bit. I think that I should have traded him out for Mangold or Schlegel or one of those guys. You
had all kind of guys that were going to bring a lot of stage presence, but not a whole lot of vocal talent, probably.
Bobby distracted too many of the people by taking his shirt off. I just wanted to be about the music, but Bobby, there was all about the presentation and the stage presence. But I think he missed on some of the melodies that we could have hit together because he was too busy taking his shirt off.
Well, you're all about the art, and he's all about the stuff around it. You're the artist, man. Yeah. Think about it. You obviously that seems like an eternity ago. So I don't even know where I'm going with it, but so I was lucky enough to come down to the Kentucky Derby with you recently, and you brought all the O-linemen and just took care of everybody. You have a great trip. It's amazing, like how the setup that you put together there, and it's a really fun weekend. But I felt like, and I haven't talked to you about this, but I feel like, I don't know if I would say, I think you feel, comfortable. Do you feel more comfortable right now just being out and about? I felt like it was just, I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying? I feel like you were real interactive with people and having a great time, and just you felt loose.
Yeah, I think that's an accurate depiction. Part of it's just getting older. I think you get older and you don't let things bother you as much. You focus on the things that are important and it's the relationships and being able to take those guys down there and mix them with the group that we've had for a number of years now. You've been involved with for a couple of years. I mean, it's a blast. And I had some help with the planning. I mean, Ed Berry was amazing, and Randall Cobb does a great job of setting up amazing chef and a great house. We got a couple others to make sure everybody was comfortable, but yeah, I think it's just getting older, and you just continue to just be more comfortable being yourself, and it's really to be honest, the biggest thing is surround yourself with good people. And the more you surround yourself with good folks in your relationship and your friendships, people who just encourage you and are positive influences and tell you what you need to hear, even if it's tough news sometimes, but also always there to support you through the great times and the times of adversity. And when you got people on your side like that, good friends like yourself and my teammates and my other friends from across the country, definitely makes life that much more enjoyable. And I think that's kind of what you're seeing.
Do you feel like there's like a different perspective of like not sweating the small stuff, or because when it comes down to it, you can't say it because you're a humble dude, but it's true. Like if you go out in public, people are going to sit there and gawk at you and take pictures like it's Brad Pitt or George Clooney or maybe a hybrid of both, is what I think sometimes I've heard you say about yourself. So they're gonna sit there and want to take pictures and talk to you and whatever, and it's really tough for you to really enjoy a situation with your friends, because it's true, you got people over your shoulder trying to get weird shots of you and all this stuff. And I feel like you maybe are able to let loose a little more, or just not worry about it as much.
Well, I hope so. I've been trying to, because there's so much of that stuff you just can't control. And I think I said Chuck Norris and Brad Pitt, hybrid, but for the looks and also the athletic ability and martial arts skill,
and Seagal's dog training ability.
Yeah, but again, it's about surrounding yourself with the right people and then just understanding yourself more. Just being comfortable in those situations and looking for the positives and everything. I think if you focus on the lack of privacy or the lack of self-awareness of some people, or the space invasion or any of that stuff, you focus on the wrong stuff. If you focus on the fact that you're living your life the way you want to, and you're happy, and you have good positive energy, and you're looking for even the most positive aspects of an awkward interaction with a fan or a drunk person at the Kentucky Derby, then that stuff just can't get you down. Can't get you down at all. Can't get you frustrated or make you be a recluse.
Exactly. I think it's something where it's going to be there. It's not going away. So it seems like you embrace it now. It's like, hey, man, I'm just going to live my life and enjoy it still.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, that's really my attitude. Is I'm going to live my life and enjoy it and do the things I want to do and have fun with it, and kind of come what may. I mean, there's going to be times where I won't have the anonymity, but I've earned that. I've earned that by my play on the field. And you don't sign up. And when we started playing football, we didn't think about we didn't think about the attention or the lack of privacy or the awkward interactions at times, but we thought about playing ball to the best of our abilities. But when you do that to the best of your abilities, you have success. There's other stuff that comes with it, and you can look at it and take positives from all of that. And once you kind of have that perspective, I think it changes how you look at those times when you're out and about and you're going to interact with the fans that are great, and the drunk people who are trying at times.
Shout out to your number one fan who we met that night, the kid at that one, whatever the spot we were at. I don't know if I would imagine you would recall, you made this dude's life. I hope he somehow hears this podcast. I'm guessing he will, because anything with your name on it, he's going to consume. This kid was – describe that kid just for a brief second.
I think he was probably early 20s. He was wearing a Wisconsin shirt, and he was really pumped up that we were there, especially me. And every time I looked in his direction, he was trying to make eye contact. And so, yeah, man, he's a great fan. Really, really excited fan. He was with a group of people who looked like who were from either from Wisconsin or just huge, probably from Wisconsin, because he was wearing a Badger shirt. So, but yeah, he was pretty juiced up, and I was making sure to give him some knuckles and some thumbs up throughout the night.
Oh, throughout the night, just randomly giving him fist pumps like Brady Papinga taught you.
Let him know there's still hope, man.
Still hope. There is still hope. Remember when I had dinner with you the night after or the day of, I think you went on the Pete Holmes podcast, and that was like your first foray into entering the podcast world. And this is a little bit of a different format than Pete. He's a guy that's out there, man. I don't even know how to describe Pete. I'm a big fan of his podcast.
You got to listen to him. That's the only way you can describe him, man. He's amazing.
So he obviously I'm not trying to sit here and let you rehash your UFO story about 2005 because I've heard that 14 times from you about the fighter jets chasing it and everything. But do you ever wonder where there's a thing where people don't want to hear, or are you ever scared about like voicing your beliefs? I know you said you don't talk politics, and that's smart. I say all the time, you can't talk about politics, religion, or CrossFit because it's a no-win situation. So, are you aware of that? Because you are like a weird, deep thinker, at least you think you are, and you think you're really well-read and all this stuff, and you Giorgio Tsoukalos and Ancient Aliens, and you watch these shows on the History Channel, and all of a sudden you're an expert at all these scenarios. Are you ever
expert at any of that? Okay, and I'm not as well-read as you are. I do enjoy. I'm always trying to advance my knowledge, and I love reading about completely random strains of thought. I mean, I'm interested in string theory. I'm interested in dark matter. I just finished Krakauer's book about Pat Tillman, which I know Pat meant a lot to you as a young college player, and means a lot to me as a patriotic American. And love. I've read a few Krakauer books now. I love them. I just actually finally started on the plane back out here. I finally started Gladwell's Outliers, which I've been meaning to read for a long time. But I have his other books as well, Blink and The Tipping Point, which will be kind of my next forays. But yeah, I mean, I love the History Channel. Just about any show on there is fascinating to me, whether it's America on Earth or Ancient Aliens or anything about the history of this planet, whether it's stuff that's been taught to us or stuff that hasn't been taught to us. I think is very fascinating. I don't worry about telling stories like my encounter, in 2005 because it was the truth. I mean, you can believe whatever you want to believe or be open to different things, but what happened, and I sat on it for a number of years. I didn't say anything publicly for a long time. For whatever reason, Pete's forum and the it's just the line of questions kind of went to a place where I felt comfortable telling that story. Again, it went everywhere, went a lot of places, and you realize that afterwards. I knew it was going to. I knew that was going to be one thing that came out of the podcast, but it happened. It had an impact on my life. Something I think about a lot and wonder about, especially in the context of today's day and age with what little we know. There's more stuff out there that if you've been following the news lately, there's a planet out there that they think there might be some sort of super megalithic type alien structure that's blocking the light from a star that's 1,200 light years away from us or something. I'm unaware of this. Yeah, it's an interesting thing out there. I mean, there's a lot of interest about aliens in general. I think if you look at somebody who's just in the cabinet was talking about one of his greatest regrets was not getting the UFO files declassified. So I'm interested to see what's going to happen with that. Hillary Clinton actually recently talked about one of her goals is going to be to declassify some of those files. She thinks that the American people are ready for it. And I don't know what that means, ready for what. But it'll be interesting to see the next 20 or 30 years what happens as we become a little bit more aware of where we stand in this universe, and if we are alone or if there's other life out there. From Roswell or where? I couldn't tell you exactly. I mean, where was Hillary talking about declassifying what? I don't know if she was talking about Roswell or just, UFO sightings have been covered up by the government for years, which ufologists swear by. Ufologist, you're a professional. And you called it your encounter. I didn't say encounter. Did I say encounter? Yeah, you said I'm very open about my encounter now. Okay, my encounter with something bizarre flying through the sky. at half past midnight. Yeah,
Was that your only encounter?
that's the only one I want to share.
Oh gosh, typical A-Rod. Just guarded. I don't care about your other encounters.
There you go.
When you say encounter, it makes me think of when people talk about.
Those encounters of the third kind.
Well, when people get encounters are when they.
Independence Day.
Well, yeah, Independence Day, of course. Just punch him in the face, Will Smith.
Goldblum. I met him this year.
How was that, man? That you had to be starstruck.
Oh, I was. Yeah, I'm a huge Goldblum fan. He was everything I was hoping he would be. He was a combination of Independence Day and Jurassic Park, man. It's two of his greatest movies. I just want to get him to start talking about chaos theory, man.
Oh goodness. Do you ever find yourself when you meet people that you say you're starstruck by, where you overshare, you tell them, you try to relate to them somehow?
Yeah, I did one time really badly.
Who?
Denzel.
When did this happen?
This was years ago. Years ago. I think we were playing in Atlanta in like 11 or 12. He was outside a restaurant. And I did the thing which, it's a fan faux pas to do when you go up to somebody and say, hey, I know so-and-so that knows you really well. Because it's taking a huge risk. If they do know him and it's a close friend, you're in. But you know as well as I do, the percentage of that actually being true is below 10%. So of all the times people said that to me, it's very rare they go, oh man, I love that person. Like, how do you know him? And then you start this conversation. Most of the time it's like, oh, cool, awesome. Well, that was me. I saw him. I'm obviously a huge Denzel Washington fan for years and one of my favorite actors. And a friend of mine had told me that, him and that his wife and Denzel's wife were really close, and he'd met Denzel a number of times. So I said, well, I'm really good friends with so-and-so. And he gave the like, oh, cool. I was like, all right, I'm going to go back inside. I'll see you later, man.
And you instantly knew?
And I just was like, just crumbled into the fetal position. Like, oh, man, I did it. I did the fan faux pas.
It's tough. I find myself, I've caught myself doing it where I meet someone who I'm a really big fan of, and you say that, and hey, yeah, I saw your show in Charlotte, North Carolina, and Blacksburg, Virginia, and I tell them, they're like, oh, cool, man, yeah, I do like 150 concerts a year. Cool. And then you try the same thing. I've done that too. Yeah, I know Bill Johnson. He was the bullpen catcher for the Braves in '87, and you played for the Oakland A's in 2005. And they're like, sweet, okay. Man.
Yeah, sweet. Good story, man.
Sweet, beat it, nerd.
Anyway, I'm gonna go this way. So, yeah.
I've done it, man. We're all guilty of that. But you know what? I'm gonna have to let you roll here. You got anything else on your mind? You want to get off your chest? Like I said, it's number 61. It's a big episode, so I wanted to give the people what they want.
I mean, there's no like fast money questions or anything.
You know what? I thought you would get upset. So I've never done this before. I've thought about before other guests I've had. I don't really ever announce it before I talk to them. And I was gonna say something like, post it without telling you. Talking to Aaron Rodgers 12 on Twitter. Talking to Aaron Rodgers 12. Anyone have any questions, send my way. I was going to do that. And then I envisioned you sitting in your chair in your office, getting all grumpy, and we'd be like, oh, douche. And then you're just you weren't going to respond to my text tonight.
Oh, man, I've been pumped up to this. I've been waiting for the invite forever.
Okay.
You have Cato on. I mean,
Cato's a huge Packers fan. He loves you. Did you listen to that episode?
Yeah, that was one of my favorites. He had Spence on.
Your boy Spencer Havner. Is he one of the greatest red zone targets you've ever thrown to?
He has the highest touchdown per catch ratio in the history of the NFL, probably, with at least 5 touchdowns.
He's gonna be very excited.
5 touchdowns and 9 catches in his career. And he had some incredible ones too. I mean, his first one against the Browns, he broke like 10 tackles, and then he had a diving one against Minnesota in 2009, which was a great catch. I threw him a back shoulder against Dallas in 10, I think, at home. That was a nice touchdown. Arizona in the playoffs in 2009, he ran he was in the outside running a replace route against Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie, caught it, stiff arm him, held the ball out. I mean, he's had some pretty memorable moments over the years.
He had the big Gronk spike too before Gronk. I told him that on here.
Yeah, what do you say about that?
Spence was odd. He was so awesome because Spence listens to like every episode and he'll text me, "Hey bro, Cato, that was awesome," and he'll quote lines from the podcast.
Yeah.
What I said. So he's gonna be pumped that we talked about him a little bit on here. But he was weirdly like, I wouldn't say he was nervous, but he was texting me about like, should I mention this and should I mention that, and he was worried about things to talk. I'm like, Spence, it's all my own thing. If you say something, we can cut it out if you need to. I don't edit anything, but we could if we really wanted to. I don't know, man.
He looked like he was in playing shape too. I mean, he looked like he'd been
okay. Now you're just being mean.
Did he talk about any pictures from Tahoe or anything? He didn't get into any Tahoe stuff, did he?
Forgot about that until
did
right
you cut
now.
That? I assumed you cut that. I mean,
Forgot about that, bro, until right now. Those will get out there. Everything's public. Are you on the cloud? Is your stuff on the iCloud?
No, I don't even know what that is.
Oh, shut up. Don't add your password. That I know that's something you're always paranoid about people hacking you and all this. That's why your footage is a little grainy because you've had tape over your computer camera for the last 12 years. So do you ever find that? You ever find people tracking you down and have stalkers? I'm sure you do.
I had an issue last year I had to deal with.
When a guy showed up to your house?
No.
That's what I'm saying. Like I had a dude show up to my house in Green Bay and we had to call Doug, the security guy.
No, with some of my online stuff, I had to, I had to change stuff around.
You had some fake Facebook accounts of you?
Oh, there's plenty of those out there. There's Instagram. I don't have Instagram.
Are you just on Twitter? Is that your only social media?
Yep. Strong Twitter game.
Twitter game. And why do you go mute during the season?
I don't know. I'm thinking about stopping that this year.
You told me like 3 years ago or 2 years ago you were thinking about stopping.
I know, but then Twitter just was so hateful. Just one of the off seasons, I was like, eh.
But you have to see it. I don't believe you if you try to tell me you don't even open the app during the season.
I didn't. No, for the last couple of years, I hadn't even been on my phone. I haven't even had the app on my phone.
Really?
I couldn't tell you anything went on the last couple of years.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're thinking about changing that this year?
I think I might. I think I might get back out there. I just got so much good stuff in this brain to just share with the masses. Just so many great quotes from Jackie Chan's, First Strike, or Seagal, Hard to Kill, or if I want to really, really surprise some people and drop some knowledge, I can, drop some Chuck Norris Silent Rage quotes.
What's the best movie of all time?
Right now, I'm kind of on heavyweights. It's tough to say there's a better movie than Heavyweights. I'm a huge Tombstone fan. Princess Bride is a great movie. I'm a big Wes Anderson film guy, so anything by him. I love The Life Aquatic. I'm wearing a little, Lebowski Sobchak 2016 shirt. It's my dabble into politics. The Big Lebowski is one of the greatest movies of all time.
Would you ever run for office at any level?
Yeah, probably like what's the local office called? Like city council or something, maybe. Yeah.
Why? What are you going to do on city council?
Just improve the sanitation issues. And,
my grandpa is mayor of Sabina, Ohio.
Yeah, how's that going?
Great. That's what he does. He deals with the sanitation issues, the sewage backups and stuff.
No, I mean I want to run for mayor and create a town like in Rosito, Pennsylvania, like in Gladwell's book. You know what I'm talking about. It's the first introduction.
Outliers.
I'm not very far into it, but they had a huge difference in the heart disease issues with men under 65 was like 50% less heart disease issues, and then over 65 was like 40% less or something. They were like, "What's the issue?" They're eating, not like they're eating really healthy or anything. It's just they created a society that it seemed, had just a higher level of positive energy and community feel. So I want to create a utopia like that, and you and your wife and kids and your cats and dogs.
Outdoor cats, for the record. I don't have indoor.
Yeah, they're all invited. How many cats do you have now? Do you have 5 or 6?
Two outdoor cats.
You've always been a big cat guy.
Nope. 2 outdoors that roam my premises and control the the mice, everything else.
Have you got any good paintings lately? Or Bobby paintings?
Bob Ross. That's another thing we connect on is Bob Ross.
Yeah, big Robert. I could watch hours of him on PBS just painting away, man.
That's why YouTube changed the game, man. That's why my kids love Bob Ross. Everybody does.
Still looking for a Bob Ross original.
It's tough, man. You're the kind of guy that has the clout and the bank account to get one.
Yeah, they're pretty expensive. I was looking them up around Christmas time. I'm like, $30K for a little Bob Ross painting?
We died in like 96 or 93 or something.
I mean, that hair, he had great hair.
You talk about a guy that owns it and is not scared.
No. Bob Ross? No.
Never
I take
once.
the zombie apocalypse next to me all day long.
Yeah, he's
Tom
the
Crabtree.
who you say Crabtree?
Yeah. Tom Crabtree, Chuck Norris, Vlade Divac.
Oh, what is your affinity for Vlade and then Drew Gooden?
Mid-range jump shots.
Yeah, what's going on?
Vlade is Sacramento Kings. I grew up in Chico, so we loved Kings, and they had a great team during that time. And they had, White Chocolate, Bobby Jackson, Peja, Hito, Vlade, Chris Webber, Scoreless Williamson. They had a squad. Lawrence Funderburk. I love Vlade, though. I mean, he would, just the way that he played, the fact he smoked, Marlboro Reds at halftime, his amazing ability to draw charges on Shaq. I mean, he gets called, a flopper from time to time, but I mean, I think he's one of the original tough guys in the NBA, right up there with Bill Laimbeer. Drew Gooden. I love the mid-range shot. I think it's a lost art. It's a beautiful thing. I was watching ESPN the other night. Who was playing? I think it was the Toronto was playing Miami, and Jeff Van Gundy loves saying mid-range. He probably said it like 10 times. And DeMar DeRozan, to his credit, is an incredible mid-range player. But yeah, I just feel like that's a lost art. And when I was playing a lot of NBA 2K against Pop over the years, Drew Gooden had like a 95 mid-range rating. So I was always the Milwaukee Bucks when he was on the team, and he couldn't stop a little Drew Gooden mid-range.
That's like your thing, man. This Drew Gooden mid-range. How you troll people or troll everybody on Twitter is similar to Colin Quinn. Have you ever followed him and checked out how he messes with people?
I haven't. I probably should get some ideas.
He stays in character too on there and won't back off of it, and people would just lose their mind on him, and it's hilarious, I think. But
there's an art to it. I'm figuring it out slowly.
Do you have what's like your group of people? Like, did you have to get this to come on the podcast? Did you have to okay this with like 9 publicists and 3 agents and managers?
Yeah, I did. And they did a big background check into you and checked all the people you've been interviewing. There's a couple of shady people that you interviewed, but they said for the most part it's okay as long as you didn't put anything weird in that green screen behind you while I was doing this interview, that everything would be okay.
That is, but you do seem to have like a for a guy of your stature, you definitely have like a small. You don't have a small. When they say, "Hey, yeah, reach out to my people." Like I don't feel like you have people.
That's kind of the part of the changes the last couple of years is taking ownership more in those areas of my life. It gives you a peace of mind and a comfort when you know kind of all the aspects of your life, whether it's investment stuff or whether it's financial stuff. Just having a personal relationship with your financial advisor, your accountant, your lawyer, your marketing representatives, where you're talking with them very frequently. That helps. It gives you peace of mind that you're on top of your business stuff. And so I've just been doing that. I mean, I don't need to get to somebody involved to do an interview with my best friend. That's silly. Just like I don't need to get somebody to be involved if I want to do some event in Southern California that's that doesn't have anything to do with marketing. So it's taking ownership of your business, and I think that's an important thing that all of us athletes can do when you know exactly where your money's going, who's getting paid what, You pay them yourself. You don't have power of attorney out there for people who are using your money to mismanage stuff. You see stuff every single day. Guys are losing money, whether it's stuff like the Madoff situation or just stuff like there's a number of guys in Southern California who put together an investment fund and lost all their money in the last couple of years, and you don't let people. Who was it? Somebody I just saw. Was it Sarah McLachlan or something like that? Just had a business manager take $4.5 million from him or something recently because they had power of attorney and they were ciphering off $100,000 a year, $50,000 a year, and you bring a lot of money in. If you don't know where it's all going, you can have that kind of stuff happen to you. So just trying to stay on top of those things.
You seem to be that way. That's something that I think would be so annoying to have people just around you at all times. And I feel like a lot of big time celebrities have that. They have people that are just hovering around them all the time, even if it's at their own personal home. And I feel like that would drive you crazy if you had people just tooling around your house.
That would drive me absolutely crazy. I don't want anybody around. I don't want anybody who's paid to be around. I mean, come on now. But what I like to do is let the people who know, the experts in those fields be experts. When I need you for marketing, do a marketing deal. When I need you, my contract agent to do a contract, do the contract. When I need you to, to set up an interview, set up an interview. But if not, I don't need to be babysat. I don't need to be, to watched. I don't need to be my handheld or anything. I can handle myself. I don't need, I don't need somebody walking around with me or trying to help me out. I mean, I love Brooksy at the Big Brooks at the Derby, helping with security, but that's more of a rite of passage in and out and making sure everybody's comfortable. But other than that, I mean, everybody has has somebody there. But no, I like to be able to move around freely, and I don't need anybody handling me. I can handle myself.
You're a big boy. My final question, I guess. What do you think you're going to do when you're done playing?
I have I'm setting up a lot of those ideas as we go. I'm interested as you are in constantly learning. So whether it's reading, I like to read a lot of nonfiction books, but also I'm interested in other fields as well. Being able to be around Olivia the last couple of years, and see her world. I mean, that world's really interesting to me. I love, as you do, probably not even on your level, but I'm a fan of documentaries. And, to be able to be a part of a group who's bringing awareness to subjects that don't get a lot of attention a lot of times. I enjoy the TV program Vice, because they tackle some really interesting issues. So to be a part of something like that, I think would be interesting. As a producer, you have a very interesting role as a leader, almost like a quarterback or a head coach. More on the coach level, actually, where a producer is putting together the pieces of a movie. They're putting together a director. They're putting together a casting director. They're helping with the hiring of the actors to set the creative vision. They're helping with the crew. They're bringing together the best elements to put things together. I think that world is really interesting to me. I'm thinking about actually doing some job shadowing next year, just to learn that business a little more. I mean. I just want to continue to learn, and I have plenty of charitable endeavors that will keep me busy, and business side ventures that will keep me busy. But I'm going to have to find a way to fill that competitive void when it's done. And I don't think it's going to be playing in an over 35 basketball league, or making a run at the senior tour, which every golfer believes they can do that. Which, let me tell you, it can't happen. It's not going to happen. Not for guys like me, but it's going to have to be something that involves competing, even if it's putting together special projects and going and trying to make impactful films, or doing some amazing charity work that impacts the world on a bigger scale. I think would be a lot of fun to kind of fill those competitive voids.
That wasn't my final question. I lied. What about do you think you want to have kids someday?
Yeah, I think so. Do
you ever think about having your kids watch? Do you ever think about man, I wish I had some because like you said, you're in your prime, you're dominating on the field, multiple MVPs, all this stuff. Do you ever think man, it'd be cool if I had kids that were old enough to see this?
I've thought about that. I think there would be some cool stuff to that, but what if I don't have kids till I'm done playing and they don't, it doesn't taint them at all how they look at me, or how they see people treat you. Now, kids are, it'd be young kids, obviously, but I mean, look, your kids are extremely intelligent. I mean, they watch everything. They're in tune with stuff. They track stuff, even when it seems like they might not be paying attention. They're listening. They're taking notes of what's going on. They see how people treat, mom and dad, and they see who mom and dad are friends with, and maybe I think a silver lining to maybe not having kids till I'm done playing, or later. Obviously it'd be later because I only have I'm on the back half of my career at this point. It might not impact them, in a negative way at all. But yeah, I mean, you'd love to have kids seeing you play in your prime and be able to share, moments with them after games or on the field after a game or a big win or something. Think about that, but hey, I got time, brother.
No, you got plenty of time. That's something I just thought of. I remember watching the Derek Jeter had like a documentary film crew follow him one of his last couple of years. I don't know if you saw it. And I think he said something like, well, I want to have kids someday. And so I'd like to, if they ever ask like what I did, I'd kind of like them to have something to see. And they followed him throughout that whole season. I think he was breaking some record that year.
Mm-hmm.
It made me think of, I don't know, it's a weird deal, man, having with kids, and I always want that, and you think how cool it is to have your kids understand what you do, but when it comes down to it, they just want their dad. They don't care what he does for a living.
Yeah. I mean, I think it'd be cool. It's going to be cool for, I went to Kobe's second last home game, and obviously, like many of us, watched his last game of his career when he scored 60. But he did a documentary a couple of years ago, and he did one this entire year. So that's going to come out at some point. That'll be a cool tribute. But his kids are older. He was with them on the court after the game, and I think that could be a cool moment to share that with them as well. But at the same time, it doesn't matter how old they are. Being able to have a kid, I'm sure, changes life and perspective, and they're gonna know who you are and what you did at some point. But being able to share the moments with them might be fun. Later in life.
Yeah. Well, appreciate it, big guy. Thanks for coming on here, man.
Yeah, you bet, buddy. That's
good. That's well.
No fast money, no fast run.
I see. If I'd have known this, I would have been prepared for. I should have, because especially I'd put really weird ones together. Because I know you won Celebrity Jeopardy, so you're all on this high horse now because you did really well.
I missed Final Jeopardy though. So
what you missed the Final Jeopardy, but you were already so far ahead.
We all missed it. I wasn't ahead by twice as much as Mark. So I bet if he had got it right and I had got it right, I bet enough to where I would have won. But everybody missed it. So.
Just by knowing you, I'm guessing you were super anxious going into that.
I was, but the good thing about it was that there was a pregame before. There was an actual entire game that we played before we did the real game.
And did you do well in the pregame?
I killed in the pregame. I think that's when I knew I was gonna do okay, because I got out to a humongous lead, and I think I scared him a little bit. Then I got nervous when Trebek came out. Even though he didn't have his mustache, I got nervous because I knew it was the real thing now.
Who was the pre-host? Pat Sajak?
No, it was Jimmy from the Clues Crew, man.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, you'd know it if you were in Jeopardy regular.
Yeah, that's one of your deals, man. Celebrity Jeopardy. I know you probably. Do you think you can compete in a normal non-Celebrity Jeopardy situation?
I watch Jeopardy all the time. I do pretty well.
Oh, I know. It's super annoying watching Jeopardy with you.
Yeah, I couldn't do any good if it was like, 18th century literature or, anything to do with the, 19th, 18th century literature. I usually struggle with. Musicals I don't do well with. But most of the other categories, anything about history and sports, obviously, I do pretty well. Pop culture, I do pretty well.
Did they tell you the categories going in?
You got to submit like some categories that you liked and didn't like. But I found out later, because I was talking to Mark about this, Kelly. For the ones I liked, I obviously put like sports and history and stuff. For ones I didn't like, I put because I knew I was playing against him and somebody from Shark Tank. So I put the ones I didn't want. I said I didn't want anything about business, didn't want anything about science, didn't want anything about astronomy. But Mark had told me on his, he put like science, astronomy. And what he didn't want was he didn't want any sports.
Really?
He didn't want any pop culture. So he was putting stuff that he knew I would want. And I was putting stuff that I knew he would want in our categories we didn't feel good about. But I ended up there was a science category. I got a couple science questions. I ran the Bible category, thanks to that's a late 80s, early 90s Christian culture I grew up.
Good for you, man. I think the good thing is I have a theme on here of not being able to wrap things up. And I always tell people I'm going to end the interview, and then all of a sudden, 30 minutes later, I'm still talking to the guy. So
that was maybe the best 30 minutes too.
Yeah, it probably was. That's always how it goes, man. That's why it's just the pirate ship. It's my own deal. It's why I'm not connected to a network. I don't want a guy like you sitting over top of me telling me to cut it off.
I would though.
You'd be the suit. You'd be the suit. Give me the cutthroat telling me no, it's rambling. No one's gonna care.
He's been fighting the man. You've always been, power to the people, man. Revolution. That's you, buddy.
Yeah. Well, this thing has obviously run its course, so I'm gonna let you roll, big guy. But man,
I was really hoping you'd be in a Dom Capers style suit, man. Dom's always, looking solid on those away trips, man.
Because he can bench press 500 pounds. Of course, he's gonna look good in those suits. You guys have the same. I think you guys both go to the same tailor. Last time I checked. Both big barrel-chested, wide-shouldered, strong dudes, man. So good for you.
You and Tausch still sharing clothes?
Mark Tauscher, for people that don't know who he's talking about. Yep, we still are. You got to go on his radio and TV shows that he does.
Yeah, that's next, man. I want to do this one first.
That's good. You should someday. You need to start your own podcast. It'll be awesome.
I'll do a fast money round too with some quick questions.
Yeah, okay. Favorite true or false? Your favorite car is what? Boom. See, that's so stupid.
Ford F-150, bro.
Shut up, your spokesman. You're such a shill for the man.
That's what I drive, bro.
Yeah. Okay, why? Because in your commercial, you're doing a fake workout and pushing it over a hill with a sled. You're still with them, I'm guessing.
Yes, I am.
It is a great truck. I actually.
You know what? I know this. The interview's not over, so I'm going to say this about Ford. Zero bailout money. Got to give them credit. American made.
Was that part of your? Was that part of the reason you went with them?
It meant a lot to me. Yeah.
Well, that's cool. It's good. It's a great truck.
I traded in my MVP car for a Ford F-150. True story. Then I actually signed with them afterwards.
What was the MVP car?
It was a Camaro.
Oh, okay.
Problem was the stick shift in that it didn't. I my first car was a stick. It was an '86 Toyota Camry, and I drove that thing into the ground. Actually, it was amazing. Second car was a Dodge Caravan, by the way, in case you were wondering. But the Camaro didn't have a sweet spot in the clutch. Every clutch on your manual has a little area you can kind of idle. This one didn't. So I literally stalled that thing every single day at least once. And I got so mad. And it had blind spots too over the left and right side. So I didn't feel very safe in that thing.
So you traded in for your F-150?
Yeah.
Did you drive the Camaro to the F-150 commercial shoot?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, that's good, man. You're can't wait till the fall to see these new unveilings of your new Adidas. It's like the Yeezys dropping again.
Yeah. Definitely going to be just like that.
But do you have
coming out with a video game too?
Who has a video game? The Kardashians?
Kanye's got a video game.
Does he?
See, I thought you'd be up on that inside joke there. You weren't.
Kanye? No, I'm up.
It's just you got to research. Yeah, Kanye's got he's got a video game.
I'm only up on the Kanye Amber Rose situation, their Twitter beef. That's all I'm up on.
I don't even know about that.
Yes, you do. Don't act like you don't.
Kanye has a video game. He unveiled it like Madison Square Garden or something.
See, I don't know any of that because he has fashion shows and stuff.
But the Yeezys are hot, man. Everybody loves them. I brought a bunch into the stadium last year, and guys were going crazy for them.
It's just no.
Boots. I don't even think the boots are good looking.
They're hot because people build up this thing around them. It's like the Mona Lisa. You go see the Mona Lisa, and if no one told you it was the Mona Lisa, you'd be like, oh, there's a cool small painting.
Really? Have you seen it?
Yeah. And everyone's gathered around. I'm like, look at all these awesome other things on the wall, man. We just don't know who painted this.
You're a big painter fan, so was there any?
There's no Bob Ross's, so I left.
Okay. Well,
Bob Original. But see, you got to watch out, though, man. I don't want to get you in trouble. I probably have to edit some of this now because this is the circle you run with now. We're talking about Kanye and Yeezys and Denzel, Kardashians, Bieber. My wife
circle.
My wife and daughter actually went to the Bieber concert here a couple weeks ago.
Yeah?
That dude's legit.
You went too, didn't you?
No, I wanted to, but 2 tickets were expensive enough. 3, it's tough to get 3, man.
Jeez.
I got him good seats. Well, we're gonna have you back on here sometime, man. If you're willing, I'll have a fast money round, and we'll do all kind of
61 maybe.
Yes, but big Aaron Rodgers. You're at Aaron Rodgers 12 on Twitter, right?
Yep.
That's your only no Instagram, no Snapchat right now. I'm guessing.
No, I've never had Snapchat.
Tinder. What's your Tinder name?
I couldn't even tell you what.
Give that out to the people.
Oh, Tinder.
Tinder.
Oh, that's a swipe thing, huh?
What, you trying to act like you didn't know what Tinder was?
Yeah.
I've been married 10 years. I still know what Tinder is. I don't have an account, but I know what it is. I live in the.
That's what all the kids are doing these days?
That's what all the youngsters. Oh, no, that's the thing. That's what all a guy, one of my buddies who you know well too, older divorcees are doing as well too.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you know one of my good buddies that is just putting in work on Tinder.
Yeah, I heard that's a great way it's taking over the eHarmonies of the world, huh?
Oh,
good. Way to make some solid relationships.
Yeah, looking for love, bud. That's all they're doing. All right, A-Rod, thanks a lot, man. Honestly, I know we've been just messing around the last little while, joking with you, but I really appreciate it, man. You're obviously an interesting, special dude you're the first guy I talked to when I got drafted in Green Bay. First guy that reached out to me and we talked to you and developed a relationship with you back in the day, back with our first, my wife and I's first day in Green Bay. So appreciate it, man.
I remember that well, buddy.
Yeah, you're the one that gave me some sage advice when I was, I think, trying to sign my contract and let me know the schedule and all that little stupid stuff that you don't know coming in as a new guy. If you're anywhere, you don't where do I park? Where do I go in? Blah. You were that guy for me.
You gonna cry?
Yeah, probably. You know I'm emotional. Not right now, though. Not right now. I'm not scared of it. I'm not scared of it like you. Come on now.
I appreciate it, kid.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, there for sure, man. It's not the same without you. That's the tough thing about getting older in the league. Every year you lose some of the close friendships. We sat next together for 9 years. It was a great time, man. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, well,
had a lot of fun.
Hey, we have fun watching you. My kids do as well. They love watching you on TV. My daughter, I told her I was talking to you tonight, so she was juiced. Had some weird questions she wanted me to ask you, but I did not. I held back, but I will let her know, and I'll show her a few clips of this when I post it, just to let her know. And she'll ask what Uncle Aaron's shirt weighs, and I'll have to try to explain the Big Lebowski to her. So
maybe you can show her in a couple years.
Oh yeah, probably. She's 5, so I'll show her when she's 7 for sure. All right, man. Thanks a lot. Really, really appreciate it, buddy.
All right, brother.
We're glad you could join us for today's conversation. After you subscribe to the show, head over to thehawkcast.com or reach out to AJ directly on Twitter at officialAJHawk to recommend future guests that will help us inspire people to keep talking. Thanks again, and we look forward to speaking with you next time on the HawkCast.